to the Racing Pigeon Podcast, Season 1, Episode 17. And today we're going to be talking about feeding, getting your pigeons ready for the race, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And then recovery times when they get back, or things you do to help them recover.
Yeah, that's right.
That's for the
Absolutely.
podcast today. But you had a race yesterday, you said.
Yep. Had a 250-mile old bird race yesterday,
Okay.
which we live streamed on the channel, of course, on
Oh,
our YouTube and Facebook pages.
awesome.
You didn't tune in again, Wes, I'm guessing.
Well, I was on the road. I was on the road 8 hours yesterday.
Oh
And
my gracious.
the day
Okay.
before that, I was down in your neck of the woods cleaning out of storage. So I was on the road like 5 hours that
Oh
day.
my gracious.
So
Wow.
busy time,
Well,
busy time. That's one reason we missed last week's release. Things have just been going so much.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and I
it's
know
that
you're
time of
just
the
as
year.
busy also.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, you had
Yeah,
18 tune in
so
yesterday.
250-mile race yesterday. I lost again.
Well, but boy, where'd you place?
Best I could do was eighth place out of 79 birds, but I was the fourth flyer, so out of four of us, I was the last one. Was not
Uh,
great, but I lost by about 12 minutes. It was a pretty fast race yesterday, over 1,400 yards per minute. But my birds just don't fly well when it's fast. I don't know why, but yeah, we just plus it didn't help that the hawk ate all my good birds this winter, and so I'm
yeah,
just
that
flying
seems
the
to.
yeah, I'm just flying the leftover, what we call the leftovers. These are not the best birds. The hawk literally got my best birds this winter, unfortunately, and that always happens. But anyhow, we're still hanging in there. We're second average speed and champion loft. I think I'm third place, so third three out of four.
Is there only four lofts in your association?
No, no, no. There was 4 to 5 flying. The fifth guy didn't fly yesterday, so we only had four in yesterday's race. So yeah, it's not great. Definitely, I'm not a great old bird flyer. So when we do we're gonna do a podcast on the old bird system. So we have widowhood, double widowhood, and we'll definitely find an expert for those. Definitely don't want me. I don't fly any of those methods. I fly just what's called natural to the perch.
Hmm.
And that's obviously like if you got a person in your club flying widowhood or double widowhood and you're flying natural, you're just never going to win. It's just going to be darn near impossible. And I
That
don't
sounds like
know that the other guys in my club are flying widowhood, but they may be flying a situation that it is somewhat different than me. But they're doing something right, and I'm definitely not. But at least we're
well,
close. I
you're
mean, I was only 12 minutes behind the first place bird, so when you look at it time wise, I mean, it's not that bad.
yeah.
But they're pretty slow. But the good news is, when I ended the live stream, I only had 6 birds back. The good news is, I got all 24 birds back.
Okay, good.
So 24 birds back to see the next race. Which I'm not sure we're going to have this Saturday because which will be what I guess 2 days after this episode comes out. We're supposed to get some rain here in the South Carolina, so
Finally, we need it.
not sure we're going to. Well, I know we do need it, but I'm not sure we're going to have a race next Saturday. It may get moved to Sunday. I'm not sure, but
Yep.
whenever it is, we'll do a live stream. It'll be a 300-mile race, so live stream probably won't even start till about 1:30 in the afternoon.
That's
And so
past where I
it'll be a
live at.
long day.
Where do they take them to?
That one they're going to be about 30 miles southeast of Atlanta, Georgia. They'll let
Oh,
them go to.
wow. Gracious. Okay.
So I think it's called Covington or Covington, Georgia.
Covington, Georgia. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So they'll be down there
That's
next
a lot.
Saturday or whenever we can have the race.
Okay.
And then the final race will be out in Alabama. So we'll cross the line past
Wow.
Atlanta. I forget the name of the town, but it's just on the other side of the border, about an hour or about 45 minutes west of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Conyers. No, that's Georgia. I
Conyers,
forget the name of
Georgia.
the town, but somewhere out there in Atlanta or
Okay.
out there in Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah, and that'll be
Sweet
our last
home.
race. So,
All right. Well,
yep,
let's take a break here for one of our sponsors, and we'll jump right into today's podcast.
sounds good. Electrofly Plus. Champions take flight with Electrofly Plus, a fully water-soluble supplement with vitamins, electrolytes, and avian-specific direct-fed probiotics built for serious fanciers. Each serving delivers 19 billion probiotics with essential electrolytes and vitamins to support hydration, gut balance, and recovery. Used during training, transport, heat, breeding, weaning, or any stressful period when birds need extra support. Simply mix in drinking water. Clean, simple, effective. Follow at Electrofly Company on social media and order online at jeds.com, pigeonmart.com, or foyspetsupplies.com, or pick it up at any of those locations. Electrofly Plus, champions take flight.
Okay, welcome back into the Racing Pigeon Podcast with Kevin and Wes. And Kevin's going to share some stuff in this segment on getting your birds ready for a race. Now, you just said you had a race yesterday for your old birds, so I'm
Yeah.
sure the prep there different than it is for the young birds?
Well, for me, not really. We're not talking specifically today about training. That would be kind of a different topic. I wanted to
Right.
focus more on just like food,
Yeah.
right? Like what do you feed? We talked in general, what do you feed a racing pigeon? But now that it's race season, how do you manage feeding and what do you feed, right? To get them prepared to go on this journey of hundreds of miles, right? So it's a little bit different than just feeding a bird just to keep it as a pet, right? I mean,
Right.
that's different. These are athletes
So, well,
that are
let me stop
expected
you
to
there for a
perform.
second. Is there a different leading up to race than your normal feeding?
Yeah, exactly. Yep, there is. So we got to get them in condition for the race, right?
Right.
And so what most of us do is feed something, well, we feed on a schedule, and what we do is we feed heavy to light, heavy to light.
Okay.
And so what do I mean by that? We feed a heavier food, which is higher fat, higher protein, right? And then as we get closer to the race, we want to lighten them up a little bit. So we go more carbs towards the end of the race. So you don't want to send your bird to the race too heavy, carrying too much fat. All right. So leading up to the very first race of the season, it's pretty easy because they haven't raced at all. They've just been training, right? So you can basically just, go protein, 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 then cut them back starting like Wednesday, start mixing about half carbs in there. And then by Friday, their last meal should be a fairly low protein, but high carb meal.
Kind of like
So
a marathoner will have a big meal of spaghetti or something the night before.
that's exactly right. Yep. So we're gonna do a similar thing to the birds, right? Some people even go as far as giving them peanuts and stuff, like the day before the race, because they are a little bit higher in protein, but they're a little bit high in fat too. So they like that peanut. Again, just a few peanuts, not a
Right.
lot.
Right.
You give a bird too many peanuts, you're just going to have a fat, blobby bird that doesn't want to even get off the perch. But you only give them peanuts maybe a day or two right before the race, just a little bit, right? But they say there's a lot of flyers that think that's really good for them. So the challenge now comes, and again, we're going to do in our second segment, the recovery,
Hmm.
right? Because once you're in the middle of the race season, it's a race every week.
Right.
So those birds, it's a little bit harder, right? Because they're going to come back depleted. You got to build them up, but then lighten them up. And you only have 6 days to do all this, right? Before you're putting them back on the truck and sending them to another race. So again, what I try to do is around Tuesday, Wednesday, really pump them up with a lot of protein. So you look for the food that's high in protein, like a 16 to 18% protein, right? So that's building their muscles back up. Okay. And then about Thursday, I start backing off the protein, start giving them more of the fats, the small fats, so the safflower, the milo, the wheat, the barley. Okay. Start adding those carbs in, bring the protein down a little bit. And so then by Friday, they should be light enough and recovered enough to get on back get back on the race course, right? But it is a challenge. You don't just feed them like you would a regular pigeon. A regular pigeon that just sits around, you're fine feeding them a basic pigeon mix that's about 11 to 12% protein.
Hmm.
And that's good. But for a race pigeon, they would never win on that kind of a mix. It's too low of protein in the middle of the week, and then it probably doesn't have the right variety of seeds in for them to actually do well for the race. And so that's one thing I want to point out is that they sell these very basic pigeon mixes, but you want to look for a pigeon mix that has a good variety of seeds in it. I think I mentioned that when we did our feeding episode, but we want
Yeah.
a good 6 to 10 different kind of seeds. There are some mixes out there that's literally just, peas, corn, safflower, milo, and oats. I mean, it's just
Hmm.
like 5 things.
Yeah.
And it's like that'll keep a pigeon alive. If you just want a pigeon to sit around and look pretty, I mean, it'll keep a pigeon alive. But but that's not what you want to feed a bird that you're expecting to fly 200, 300, 400 miles
Right.
and
Right.
actually win. It's just not good enough. Um, and now some of the problem here, Wes, is that I'm being very general. And because if you fly in New Jersey versus Arizona versus Florida, your feed mixes are going to have to be a little different to
Right.
compensate for environmental,
Yeah. Yeah.
issues and things like that. So again, the best bet is, join your local club and try to learn from the local flyers what works best in your area. It's very hot and humid where we fly here typically. So I don't feed a lot of peanuts. That's just not something that I do. But if you're up north, I think they do feed more peanuts up there. The birds can handle it. I don't feed corn when it gets hot down here because corn is a hot grain. It's takes a lot of it has a lot of energy, but it takes energy to digest it.
Hmm.
And the birds will let me know as soon as it starts getting warm, they stop eating the corn. I go out there and the only thing left is corn. They don't want it. They
Yeah.
know. But up north where it's cooler, hey, them birds will suck down the corn all year. So you got a little bit you got to learn from your local places too, and then just learn what works for you as well. But if you're just trying to explore mixes, you can go onto a website like chewy.com. They sell several different brands, and they've all got these different mixes and stuff. And
Hmm.
you can read about the different mixes, but understand like they're a bird food company. They're gonna
Yeah.
put whatever on that bag to try to sell you the food. So take it with a grain of salt. Do your research on what individual grains are good for. Um, like when what is safflower? What is safflower good for, right? It's high fat, high energy. When should you feed safflower? And then so once you find out what individual grains do, then look for mixes that have those certain grains and the percentages you want. The nice thing is all the food has to list the protein, the fat, just like our food labels. They have a little label on the food that they have to list those basic things. So that's what I do is I basically just judge based on what their nutritional analysis is. And but a lot of times, Wes, I'll mix different blends together to kind of get what I want.
Right. And that's
I'll have
something that takes time and learning
yeah,
what does best for your loft. And
that's
you
right.
you
Yeah.
you obviously have a loft in South Carolina. You had one in
Yep.
Florida, is that correct? Before
Yeah.
you
No, I did not. I've only had
not
lofts I had one in Fayetteville, North Carolina,
Fayetteville,
but
North
the
Carolina. Okay.
weather's we're not that far apart, so the
No, no,
weather
no. Okay.
basically the same, yeah. But yeah, and then besides the messing with the food, is people believe in all kinds of different supplements, leading up to the race. People use red cell, people have different vitamins, Winsmore, these kind of old-timey vitamins and things that people use.
Right.
They think if you can improve the blood flow throughout the pigeon, that it'll, oxygenate the blood better while the pigeon's flying. So there's all kinds of supplements that have been created out there that, supposedly will improve the pigeon's blood flow and oxygenation levels. And, you can just go to some of the websites, Foy's, Jed's. There's a bunch of them out there that sell all these pigeon supplements, but you can just look through the different race supplements. But again, just remember, they're all going to sound like they're the miracle that's going to make you win the race. All of them are going to have, they're going to sound spectacular. You can't use all of them.
Right.
You can
Right.
absolutely over supplement your birds. So you have to be careful. Experiment with some, use one at a time. And if you have good results with it, then boom, you have found the supplement for your birds. Stick to it. If you don't like are not getting the results with the supplement, then switch to a different one and try that one at a time. But there is no need to be stacking, 4 or 5 different supplements on top of each other. Some people put supplements on the food and then they'll put other supplements in the water. It's like, come on, guys. I mean, enough is enough. So I do supplement. I'm not going to tell you what I use because,
Oh,
like
come
I
on,
said, what
Kevin. Why
I
not?
use, no, I can tell you
Well,
because what I use
that goes
isn't
back
going
to
to
the
work
feed
for
mix
somebody in
too.
Minnesota, right?
But that's true. But
Yeah.
even with the food mix, I mean, this is a sport. I mean, you're trying
Yep.
to find your right one. You have to experiment, and like you
Yep.
said, I mean, even down the road in Fayetteville, you may still have a little bit different mix where you're at now in
Eh,
Horry County, be
Yep.
maybe close, but
Yep.
that's part of the fun of the sport, right?
Part of the
Trying
fun.
to find the the right
That's
mix for
right.
you and giving you that edge in the races.
Now, here's another problem. You have to look ahead at race day and see whether the race is expected to be easy race or hard race. Meaning,
Mm.
are the birds going to have a tailwind? Right? We talked about that.
Right.
Are they just going to blow home, which is an easy race? Or are they going to have a headwind or a crosswind hitting them on the shoulder where
Hmm.
they're going to have to work? It's going to be a really slow race to get home. And I'll look ahead and try to judge that as well. And that will also have me possibly change up the food ratio a little bit that week going into that race. If I know they're
Yeah.
going to need more energy to get home, then I got to make sure that I give them more energy, Thursday, Friday. If it's going to be a blow home race, an easy race, then I know that they don't need as much energy, but I got to make sure the birds are super light.
Yeah.
Because they're
Okay.
just all they have to do is all they have to be is a kite that day. They just spread their wings, but
Let
they
the
got to
wind
be
push.
light for that, right? Um, so there's a lot that goes into it. And again, that's something I can't teach you from this podcast necessarily. You got to do a lot of reading and asking a lot of questions of your local flyers. Apparently, I haven't asked enough questions this season because I'm sucking up the place. But now, yeah, yeah. So that's old, and this is basically for old birds and young birds. I don't vary how I do this for the
Hmm.
babies versus the older birds when I fly them. Maybe that's my problem. So I might have to start changing up what I do for these birds because I'm doing the same thing I did for my young birds in the fall, and I won 5 out of 9 races. I did really well, and I can't even win a race now to save my life. So perhaps I do need to change up what I'm doing
Yeah.
and how I'm doing it. But that's what I say, and the other thing, Wes, is it literally changes from season to season. Just
Right.
for no reason. So it's really frustrating, but that's also what really makes it fun, right?
Yeah. That makes
So
sense.
that's a little bit about leading up to feeding, getting them ready to race, right?
Okay.
Don't keep them on their plain food for race season. You've got to start tinkering around with the proteins and the carbs and the energy levels, and you gotta give them the best chance for success on race day.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's take a break and hear from one of our sponsors, and we'll come back and talk about what do you do when they get back from that race.
Yes.
All right.
Sounds good.
Y'all tune in.
All right, pigeon people, listen up. And yes, I know you're out there. If you're tired of your birds giving you that, you could have upgraded me by now. Look, it's time to visit rpauctions.com. This is the hot spot where racing pigeon breeders buy, sell, and outbid each other like it's the Super Bowl of feathers. The site's easy to use, the birds are top notch, and the bidding gets, let's just say, intense. So do your loft a favor. Head over to rpauctions.com and find a bird that won't judge you every time you walk by.
All right, welcome back into the Racing Pigeon Podcast with Kevin and Wes, and we've just talked about in our last segment getting a bird ready to fly. Now they're home, they're wore out, they want some downtime. What's your process of getting them ready for the next week?
Yeah. So, racing is stressful. When the birds come home, they're going to be tired. The very first thing that your bird's going to do is go get a drink. Um, Very first thing they're going to do.
And not at the bar.
So, what's that?
Not at the bar.
Not at the bar, no, 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 no tequila. So we want to prepare their water for when they get home. And again, they sell a bunch of stuff, the pigeon companies do
Yeah.
that you can put in their water for when they come home, different electrolyte mixes and different things like that. But there's an kind of the old timers way of doing it, which is just put a teaspoon of honey in their water.
That's it.
That's about it.
Oh.
That's all you really have to do. Put a little honey in their water. And that honey, I don't know if you know anything about honey, but what is honey very high in? B vitamins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And natural sugars.
Yeah.
So that basically gives them a reboost of a little sugar shock for them, while also rehydrating them and giving them some of the B vitamins that they've lost as well.
Okay.
Some of those essential amino acids and stuff. Honey's the natural way to go. Now I actually do both, so I'll put a little honey in their water, plus I'll use just a little bit of a electrolyte mixture that I buy from Europe. That's all more I'll say. Again, there's all kinds of them out there that you can look at and purchase. Use what you like.
It's
But that's it.
if we get hold of that company and say, hey, we'll give you a little more time if you give us some sponsorship. But go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But well, a lot of the European stuff's getting hard to find. I'm not even sure you can buy that right now in this country. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, a lot of the Tolleson products and stuff, they've literally stopped shipping them here.
Hmm.
They said we're not dealing with the tariffs. We're done. We're not
Yeah.
selling to America anymore. So we're having a lot of problems getting our good medications right now. So maybe there needs to be some American entrepreneur that starts a pigeon company and starts making these supplements here, but
Don't
not cheap,
should
unfortunately.
put that on the air. That might be another venture for
Yeah.
our
I ain't got
podcast.
that money, but maybe somebody does. Maybe we need to
Oh,
call up Elon and see
how
if he
much
wants
could
to
it be?
invest in something.
No, couple of dollars here and there. Come on, it's not much.
Oh, sure.
You're an economist. You're rich.
Yeah, oh, sure I am. Yeah. But anywho, yeah, so the first thing you want to start with is their water. Put something in their water to just get them that initial energy boost that like because they are going to be. I mean, I've had them come home from a 350 West where they can barely walk.
Oh
I mean,
wow.
they drag themselves in the loft and they fly to the floor. They crawl over and get a drink, and then they just ugh. I mean, they just you have no idea. And
Wow.
so they're gonna be thirsty, number one. So give them something good to drink. And then they're gonna be hungry. So that they're gonna, eventually make their way over to the food trough and looking for food. Now, what I do is I feed them something called a depurative mix when they get home. And a depurative mix is basically a mix that is high fat, low protein, and it's all what we call easily digestible seeds. So basically, when they're flying, they have lactic acid that builds up in their body, and their body needs to get rid of all that lactic acid that's built up. A
Hmm.
depurative mix is a mix that is specifically formulated to help them detox and get those toxins out of their body. So it has various seeds in it, like milo, barley, wheat. Could have patty rice in it, different things like this. There are several companies that make depurative mix, so just search for it. Sometimes they're just called Depure,
Hmm.
Depure B or something like that. Each company calls it something, but you want to look for a depurative mix, and that is what you want to give them at first. Nothing else. They don't need protein right now. They just need to get those toxins out of their body. Start feeling better.
And is this and this is gonna be like day one? Do they eat on the day they
Yep.
get back?
Right when they get back.
So
That's
you
what they should
basically once
have.
the day to get back, that's your first day. You got 5 more days to get them ready. So
Exactly.
you're
Yep.
talking you're literally right now talking about the first day they're back. Go
Starting
ahead.
the first day, right when
Okay.
they get home. Yep.
Okay. All right.
So for the first 24 hours, I feed them the Pure mix only. That's all they get. Just
Okay.
detoxify. And you'll see it, their stools, their fecal matter will
Hmm.
be very unnormal when they first come home to the loft. You're going to think your pigeons are sick, right? We talked about that with Dr. Tim, but you're going to think of those pigeons are sick because their poops are going to look you're like nothing you've ever seen. They're going to be runny, they're going to be foamy, green, white, just you're going to be like, "Oh my God, my pigeons." Don't panic. That is the lactic acid trying to get out of their body. It's normal, okay? About 24 hours later, the poop should be back to normal, okay? If they linger past 24 hours, then you need to start to worry. But for the first day, don't even look at their poop. It's going to be nasty because they're getting all these toxins out of their system that have built up from the race. Um, so so we're into day two. All right. They came home yesterday. It's the next day. It's still mostly DePure mix, but by that evening, I'll start to mix a little bit of a higher protein mix in there. Just a little bit. I'd say 75-25. So 75 DePure, 25 a normal mix, like a champion mix or something, 16% protein. Okay. They'll start picking. Their bodies will tell them when they need to stop the depure and start the protein. It's kind of like they know what they need. Now, so that's day two. Day three, we're back to a protein mix. I bumped the proteins up. No more depure. So let's see, they came home Saturday. By Monday, when I feed them Monday evening, no more depure. We cut that off fully. Okay, Sunday we have a half and half or 75-25. By Monday, you go full off depure. So you go full protein. Now you're building their muscles back up because their muscles got depleted.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so their metabolism's back to normal. We've got all the toxins out of their body. By Sunday night, should be gone. Monday, you start building them back up. Okay, protein. Tuesday, protein. Wednesday, protein. And you're training them now. So Monday, you're training them. Tuesday, train them. Wednesday, train them. Okay, training them, giving them the protein. We're building the muscle back up. Thursday, okay, race is Saturday. Thursday, we start lowering the protein down, building up the carbs and energy. Okay, so we start switching. So Thursday, I'll do about a half protein, but now they're introduced to a half carb mix. Friday morning is their last meal, full carbs. It's just
Okay.
like the athletes eating their plate of spaghetti before they run the next day. So that's exactly what we do. That's how we build them up. Now, again, if the race is going to be hard or fast,
Right.
that Wednesday, Thursday is when I might alter a little bit on what they need. Just depends on what I'm looking at I'm looking ahead at the weather on Saturday, seeing what the winds are going to be. If I need to, I'll keep them on high protein a little bit longer in the week. If it's going to be a hard race, it's going to be a shorter, easy race, I'm going to kick them off the protein a little bit earlier. Um, but you got to feel your birds. Every day you're training them, you're picking them up, feel their bodies. Their bodies will tell you, again, kind of what they need. So you got to recognize the sign of a bird that's getting too fat or a bird that's, not built up enough. You haven't given them enough protein. And so, again, that's going to come with time and experience. But that's what you got to do. Now, let's go back to the water because they get the honey and the electrolytes the day they come back. But by the next day, you don't want to give them that anymore. So by the next day, you want to go back to, I like a good probiotic in their water, something like a Primalac or there's, again, a Castle product. There's a lot of different ones you can use, but I like to go back now and do a probiotic in their water for like Monday. Well, I'll do that Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All right, give them a good probiotic.
Mm-hmm.
So because flying kills a lot of the bacteria in their gut as well. So you want to do that. Now, some people will use apple cider vinegar in the water. Again, not when they come back, but in the middle of the week, they'll do an apple cider vinegar. They'll alternate that with a probiotic. Again, do what works for you,
Mm-hmm.
but you gotta maintain these pigeons in top health. These races take a lot
I would think every
out
week's
of a
important
pigeon.
to keep, whatever works for you to keep going and get them in that routine.
And
You think
that's
of
it.
any other athlete, and I know
Yeah.
the analogy is probably a little overboard, but even a football team that plays once a week, they
Yep.
have a regiment. They go through and they do things. A marathon runner has a certain regiment as they go between races. So what you're describing to me is just like any other athlete. You've
Yep.
got to find that regiment. You got to find that routine. Get them
Yep.
used to it. Get their bodies used to it, and just like
Yep.
me, it would make you a lot more successful.
Yep. And stick to the routine. I mean, it's literally I have a routine. It's every time. Oh, now something I forgot to mention that I like to do is I just did it today. I always do it on Sundays because the day after the races is the all the pigeons get a bath. Okay, so
Okay.
you mentioned I think we did a
Yeah,
reel
we did it.
about
We did a reel about
cooking
that.
this week. You asked me if they get a spa day, and I said not really, but they kind of do.
Yeah, kind of
So
relax. Let's regather yourself, get a bath, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So on Sunday, the race team gets a bath. Well, I give my whole loft a bath, but we're focusing obviously on the race team. So they raced yesterday. They're feeling a little bit better today. They've had their Depure mix all night. They slept last night, so they're feeling pretty good. But their muscles are probably sore, right? Imagine if you ran
Yeah,
300 miles
yeah,
yesterday, your legs would probably be a little sore. So their muscles are sore. So I give them a bath on Sundays, but I put what's called a Cest Blue powder, blue salt in there. I don't know if Cest is how you say it. It's CEST is the brand name.
okay,
It's another European product. They make a lot of different supplements. They make the electrolyte mixes. They make all the stuff we've been talking about. But I like something called a blue salt mix by that company. And why do I like that mix for the race pigeons is because it's got magnesium in the mix. And per their marketing, this magnesium, I think it's magnesium. Let me look real quick. I got to pull it up here. It's magnesium sulfate. They say, and I'll just read you what they say. Magnesium sulfate with skin absorption ensures the restoration of magnesium reserves in the body, reducing the feeling of fatigue and exhaustion, and ensures better functioning of the muscles and the nervous system. So I have found this product, and again, I'm not giving away my secrets here. A lot of people use this product.
yeah,
I have found this product to really help the race pigeons. The day after they get home, they love to take a bath in it. They obviously drink a little bit of it too, but I think that magnesium really helps them like kind of boost the recovery
yeah.
that we're doing right now. And again, on Sunday, the day after the race, it is all about recovery. They get the Depure mix. They get their spall, they get their, their blue salt in their water, and they don't do anything. They don't loft fly. They just are chilling. They just relax today, and that is all. Give them the good to pure mix. I switched their electrolytes out already, but give them some good probiotics in the water. Give them a bath with their blue salt. That magnesium will help restore their body, cleanse their system, and that just sets them up for a good week of training and building them back up with the protein and heading into the next race. Now, some people have asked me why I don't give them that bath the day before the race. Like, why not give them the magnesium and all that before
Right.
the race?
Okay.
And there are some people that give their birds a bath, the day of the race. Or like the day before, before we take them to the clubhouse, or the day before that, even like Thursday or Friday.
Hmm.
The problem with that is if the birds encounter any rain along the way,
Okay.
when you give a pigeon a bath, it loses some of its natural dust. That natural dust acts as a water repellent for the pigeon.
Oh, okay.
And so you can give them a bath before the race if you are absolutely sure that you're not going to have any rain along the race course. Then they can fly just fine. It's no big deal. But what if there's a pop-up shower that happened that the weatherman didn't know? I mean,
And
300 miles is a long way from your house. You don't know
I'm
what they
not,
could find
yeah,
along the way.
I'm not sure in the other parts of the country that you're flying in happens, but in the South, even down to Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, the big joke is if you don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes, it'll change. And so you
Yeah.
never really, and especially in the late summer, you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
never tell if
exactly.
there's going to be a pop-up shower. So,
Yeah. So I just generally don't because I want mine to have the full dander. We had a young bird race last fall where my birds ended up having to fly through a very thin band of rain.
hmm,
And they did it and I won the race. So they had their full waterproofing on, so they flew right through that kind of like an airplane. If you just watch if you're ever on an
yeah,
airplane, you fly through the rain, you can just see the water just rolling off the wings, you know what I mean?
yeah,
'Cause I don't know, I think they wax them airplanes. I don't know, right? But the dust on a pigeon is like a wax job on your car.
okay,
The water will just roll off them for a while. Now they
yeah,
can't fly through heavy rain,
right, right,
but if it's just a brief 5 minutes, whatever, and it's not a downpour,
hmm,
if you don't bathe your pigeons, they can fly right through that like it's nothing. Now, if they do get into a downpour where it's a good 15, 20 minutes, they're going to get wet and go down, and they'll have to go down until they dry off.
yeah.
which sucks. But usually the races we don't fly if it's going to be that bad, of course.
Yeah.
But like you said, it is anything could pop up. They get caught in it, and so I always give my bath the day after, and I just feel like it sets them up for a good week. But
Okay. Awesome.
again, talk to the local people around you and see what their feeling is. But that's what works
Mm.
for me or has worked for me. So
All
that's
right.
a little bit about the recovery. But the recovery is honestly, once you're in the race schedule, the recovery is almost more important than the preparation for the race. If
I
you
would
don't
think
get them
so.
recovered properly,
Yeah.
you know,
They're not gonna race very well. I mean, it's just
no, doesn't matter what you do the rest of the
pretty
week,
much common
honestly.
sense.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
Well, that's great information. And
Yep.
we'll end up this podcast here. Again, we'd love to hear from you. Racingpigeonpodcast@gmail.com. Write into Kevin, ask him questions. We'll be happy to cover it on future episodes. And as always, we're looking for sponsors. If you want to jump on, we're still growing, so we still got some introductory sponsorships for you for the time that we're in now. Hopefully, as we grow much larger, we'll be able to offer you that many more people for your product. But until next week, then, hope the loft goes well. And Kevin, I hope your next race, you take home I guess it's not the blue ribbon or whatever, just
Yeah,
the
the
number
piece
one
of paper.
position, the piece of paper.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm trying. I'm trying. I hope we do have a week off and maybe I can get these pigeons straightened out. I don't
There you go. All right. We'll see you next week on the Wishing Pigeon Podcast.
know. See you guys. This segment is brought to you by ShowPigeonAuctions.com, the brand new online home for the show and fancy pigeon community. The site is officially live, the doors are open, and now it's our turn as a community to help it take flight. Right now is the perfect moment for breeders and exhibitors to jump in, create an account, and be among the very first to list birds. Every great marketplace starts with a few dedicated people who believe in building something together. And that's exactly what ShowPigeonAuctions.com is aiming to do. If you want to support a platform made specifically for our hobby, or you've got a bird you're proud to showcase, head over and get started. ShowPigeonAuctions.com. Let's grow this community one listing at a time.